My Invisible Son, Part 4. What's that about? Don't know. Anyway, it is Tuesday. I do know, actually. Um, I've been really dizzy lately. I don't know what. Like a couple days ago, I was getting kind of mildly dizzy. And then yesterday, I don't know what's going on. I'm getting old. A lot of stress, a lot of people, a lot of questions, a lot of comments, a lot of posts. Some nice, some nothing negative. Nothing negative. But I was watching YouTube today about YouTube. This one kid talking about, how to making your, amongst other things, many other things, meaningful, so to speak. At least that's kind of some of the message I was taking from it. And let me turn this down a little bit. Oops, that's pretty bright. But anyway, so I'm I was trying to find a purpose behind all the posts. In fact, we're trying to I have a friend of mine helping me. We're trying to figure out like all the posts that I had since my son died almost a year ago, about less than 2 weeks. Labor Day weekend. It's supposed to be a great weekend between him and I. And what happened was, and I'm repeating myself if you've seen the other ones, but of course he got hit by a car. A lot of uh, extenuating circumstances behind that, but which is what started me on this path, this journey, with a lot of rugged emotions attached. And it's funny because I don't know how the sound quality is. I know when I play usually I play music on Facebook, and it's already stressful enough that I played music, and then people are uh, trying to you know tell me. Well, it's stressful enough that Facebook has a blocker, like YouTube's even more strict, and there's royalty rights and stuff like that. I'm not trying to capitalize off their music, not in any way, shape, or form. In fact, if anything, I hope you guys get interested, whoever watches it, and um, buys the record or the album or enjoys it. That's it. But anyway, getting back to the whole thing with here on this, is this the third week, second week, third week of August. My daughter leaves back for school, even though they're going to be mostly offline. She's going to be about 175 plus miles from here. And she's gone through a lot too. She'll be 22 in November. My birthday's in November as well. And she's going to be up there for about 3+ weeks, which is the last time uh, it's been a while since we've been apart. I mean, she goes, sometimes a few hours a day, sometimes a couple of days here and there. But, it's going to be one of these things where now that the coronavirus is starting to find a new um, arrangement, if you will, you know, um, some businesses are going to go back, some aren't. School's different. The way to make money is difficult for some people, myself included. But, the value of the human life and the memory that we create or gets created seems to be overlooked. It's overshadowed by a lot of people. And I think when I look at everybody around me now, and this is really bad because everyone's become so judgmental just on the simple fact of how we handle a virus or political choice. If they can go outside, if they can go enjoy a parade or an outdoor gathering or whatever. And for me, added on top of that, that's just syrup on top of the pancake for me. And it's a big stack. And I've learned a lot of things. I learned about people, how they judge and even look at me and perceive me. How do they perceive you and your loss? The loss, because I see it becomes instantly, effortlessly catastrophic for anybody that's about to lose a pet, a family member, a friend, somebody far younger or far older than my son was. And it becomes, until it hits that particular person, it, some people are extraordinarily compassionate and some limited to a particular level. But it's trying to bring out the most positive aspects of what I think we achieve and strive for. You know, my daughter, both of them, but my first one in particular, here's the story. Their mother was very young when she met me, and she stayed at my house. Out of the 5 years that I knew her, I met her when she was a teenager. And she stayed with me at my house probably her about 3.5 years into knowing her, not even probably. And what had happened was that, you know, we got closer and closer. And of course, we had Sabrina. 9 months later to the day, in November, in fact, my wedding anniversary would have been about a week and a half ago, my 21st anniversary. But 9 months later to the day, we got married in a nice ceremony, nice reception. My parents and my brothers put together. I sang at it. I helped put together the lighting and the sound. We had bands. It was a whole night. It was a great, great night. Beautiful night. And I thought, okay, well, I gave up my goals of being famous, my goals of being single for the rest of my life and everything like that. And then Sabrina came along. And I remember when she was born, months before, when she was getting the ultrasound, I was hoping for a boy. And when I found out she wasn't, I was kind of disappointed. But then I walked down the hallway. My ex-wife saw the expression on my face. It wasn't like overjoyed, right? But then as I was leaving and walking down the hall into the waiting room area, you could see part of the waiting room area. And I've told this story before, but some things I'll repeat. And I see this lovely young woman sitting there looking at me, smiling, you know, reasonably attractive. And I wasn't trying to flirt with her with my pregnant girlfriend or whatever. But, you know, she's smiling. Well, I didn't see her hands like this. As I went around the corner, her hand was on something, and it was actually the wheelchair part of where her son, who was strapped in his contraption, and apparently, I mean, he wasn't physically normal, and he was kind of in this particular thing, and she's talking to him, and he's making noises and stuff like that, and I just remember instantly thinking, as long as she comes out healthy. And I meant that in the nicest way, so don't, you know, but it was like, we forget that part, you know. We hope that, you know, it's true what they say. The word health will follow you from the minute somebody is impregnated, I guess, if that's the right word, to the minute you die at any particular age, especially older. You know, as long as you have your health, they say. And Sabrina came out actually very healthy, very perfect. She was breached, like my other two, so they were all C-section babies. But, you know, in a nutshell, she, so I get my headphones here. It's kind of a mess here for a moment. But anyway, oops, gotta put this down here. So Sabrina became my instant world. And I remember holding her even at the wedding, and even months before and ever since after, I would always smell her hair. She had thick hair like I did when I was born, and full head of hair. And it was just that baby smell. And, you know, of course, you know, when you wash in fact, she just texted me, I'll be home in 15 minutes. Text her real quick, give her a little thumbs up emoji. But anyway, and, you know, all that stuff, that machoism, you know, the machismo they call it, whatever. And that's gone. You know, she becomes daddy's little girl. She was my butterfly, right? And I used to have to check on her at night. She was so quiet that I didn't want to. I was like, I was terrified to sleep away from her crib. In fact, it was right across the hall. The doors were open, and I could see right into her room the way the rooms were angled. And I was a light sleeper, and I stayed up late at night as always. My ex-wife was an early riser. I mean, I could wake up at any time, but I would go to bed super late. So if she ever woke up crying, or any of them did, I would have no problem instantly jumping out of bed and, walking with them, whatever it took, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and what didn't matter. But anyway, that's how it became with me and her. By the way, there's the debates going, or not the debates, the DNC convention. I'm sure people are watching that right now, so that's good. This is being recorded. So anyway, she was a really cool part of my life, and I didn't mind being married. And I knew that. Well, I go, okay. I was 36, and I figured if I was going to be famous, I would have been famous by now. And I tried several times getting into jobs, and I remember when I was 29, I got certified in all this computer programming, and I thought, okay, that'll be my backup job. And that was before I actually met the mother. I met her a couple of years after I got that, so it had nothing to do with her. But at least I was prepared for my future, my fallbacks, if you will. So that's how that happened. But becoming a dad was something different for me. I enjoyed it. I really, truly, I just can't even tell you. It wasn't anything I was trying to be. I didn't care. I wasn't looking to be, hey, look at me, I'm a dad, look at my beautiful girl. It wasn't anything. It didn't matter. We could have left the planet and never came back, and I'd have been perfectly happy. Especially now more than ever. But anyway, so having that said, along came my son. And I remember when she told me she was pregnant with my son, and she didn't tell me it was a boy or girl right away, even though we found out sooner than most people, because that's what she did. She was an ultrasound tech, sonographer, that's what they call them, where they check. She worked in there with the OBGYN doctors, people mostly that are pregnant. And I didn't want another kid. I didn't even want a son. And I know it sounds rugged or rough or whatever. I used the word rugged. I don't know, I'm stuck on it today. So I heard it, but anyway. And because I had so much devotion and attention onto this particular person, this little individual, watching her grow, and she was so cute, and the animation that she had, she could light up the whole room, and I would play Stevie Wonder, Isn't She Lovely, all the time. In fact, I recorded videos on DVD with a really nice camera I had at the time, and I had it playing in the background. I didn't even dub it in. I played it like live on the CD player, and you could hear it in the background pretty good. And she would just stare in a little bouncer chair that she had, and this was before she was even capable of talking. But then Dante came along, and he looked a little different. He didn't have the full head of hair, and he had a lighter hair color. She had dark hair. He had like lighter version. So I wasn't really like, and this sounds horrible, but it's not, I wasn't really like, you would think, right? Like I wanted a boy and all that, and for some reason it was just weird. I can't explain. I can't really describe it. And it's horrible to admit. But it was like, But then I shifted. I opened my mind up a little bit more, and here's this little boy, and next thing you know, he was mini me. He was like my little everything, And Sabrina, she's very quiet and shy and introverted in a lot of ways. Not in a bad way. She's just not very outgoing in that department. But when Dante was getting center stage, and he was very outspoken, and he was very colorful, and he was always trying to chase me through, the house, and he always wanted to sit on me or lay next to me and things like that. And she always would kind of almost go out of her way to, make sure that she was noticed as well. And, that's what kids do. And we saw videos, and we even made jokes about it last year, because I found all these videos and I was digitizing them to DVD as a backup, but also here so I could put them on YouTube, in which I have been doing, and I'm going to keep doing it. But anyway, and I played one of the videos for them off the computer, and I filmed it from my phone, their reaction. And Dante was kind of swearing because he swore, he did. But he said, that Sabrina was actually trying to overtake this balloon from him because, she was a couple years older than him. And he was still kind of in that infancy mode. And as he got older, he would push her away. And if she tried to, take over the camera or the spotlight. And it was cute. But I knew that they were really close. I knew that they were really close, brother and sister. They never had even when he was being like a little boy to her, it was only a half second because for the most part, they really dug being around each other. And same thing with Sophia, who's much younger years later. I've got pictures I find all the time, even today, with them together. And they never, being boy, girl, different ages, all that kind of stuff. It was never, once in a while, Dante would always pick on Sophia the last couple of years. And I would tell them, no, that's your sister. You protect her, you defend her. And she's younger, and all that. And he really very quickly got what I was saying. It wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. Not difficult, but just, I thought it was going to take me every single time, because I have nieces who I love to death, but I don't care how many times you tell them to stop fighting, they're always fighting. Last week, last month, last year. And Dante wasn't like that. He got the message right away. And if I said that, he never repeated it. Yeah, very seldom would he say something derogatory towards Sophia. Never Sabrina, though. He loved her. He loved her so much. It was like he could have been 20 years younger than her because he would sit next to her. He would lie next to her in bed. He would sit in a chair. Even as he was taller than me when he, the last year. He was like 6'2", and Sabrina's 5'9". She's tall too. Her mother's 5'7". But Sabrina and him made everything right in the world for me. And I was going through a lot of financial hardships. I was severely depressed about the fire department letting me go. And I drive past it all the time. In fact, it's not a psychological thing. It's just these shirts actually fit good. And I look at it when I work out in the gym. I kind of look at them. That's kind of, but no, but they're very comfortable too. They're very soft cotton because they're designed to train. That's why. But anyway, so I was just telling a friend of mine earlier that since I turned when my ex-wife served me papers back in May of 2012, I was 49 and a half years old, 49. So I was hoping to have evolved from this free fire department, but it was a big fire department. Troy's it's the largest one in the state, volunteer. It's probably one of the biggest fire departments in the state, period, and in the country. But I thought at my age, I was doing so well. I was top responder. I had been decorated 4 times in a short period of time, including life-saving. So I knew that I could have gotten on a paid department not too far from here in a very nice city called Birmingham. And my buddy, who I even gave him a reference, and he's been there ever since. And he's making really good money working 2 days a week, 48-hour shift, because you stay there. And but anyway, plus my other stuff. So I had a really good plan to get back and all the things that I had encountered over the last 5+ years with the economy since the mid-2000s, early 2000s. So I didn't fully enjoy everything that I had gone through with my divorce and the custody battle that kept consuming money. I sold my car and made a lot of money off of it, and I had to give it to my lawyer and lose right away. So it was like taking $20,000 and and I went through 6 lawyers, all highly recommended. These weren't like, budget lawyers. And every second that they were with me, and every time I went to court, I got this pit in my stomach. I was sick. I had to get in a suit. It didn't matter. No matter what you say you do, you're going to, it was just one of those things. It was like a battle. It was just a battle, a life uphill battle. So, and most people don't care. They got their own lives. They got their own stuff. And you're well aware of that. At least I am. I'm well aware of it. But you still, even when you show up to work, or if I would be at an event or a party, and I'm, doing it, and the stress of just doing, even if life was perfect, it was hard on me here and here. It's like, oh, imagine having the worst flu or menstrual cramps or, all that and more. And you have to work to the fullest capacity. All eyes are on you, and things are all stressful, and so many little things can go wrong instantly, and they're going to look at you and, bring the hammer down and all that. And so last year when he was here for 9 solid months, and his sister was here, and they were all enjoying each other's company, working out together. They would go out. They would left here one weekend for like 3 or 4 days to go to Lake Michigan by where she went to school, and hung out with friends. And I missed them, but it was cool because they were together. The big brother with the older sister, because he was bigger than her, and they loved each other. They had fun. They were always joking. He's always funny. It was all right with the world, even though I was suffering with the lack of money. And it sounds pathetic, but I mean, I've made $10, $20, $30,000 cash in just a few hours legally. I've done that thousands of times. I've done not $30,000, but I mean, I've made $500 to $1,000 or more in a single day since I was 20 years old. I owned every single thing I owned. I paid cash for up front and didn't have to, except for cars, of course. I would make payments. I lent people, people didn't borrow $20 from me. They'd borrow $200, $2,000, $5,000, and I'd never see them again. And these are people I knew and liked, even ex-girlfriends. Even to this day, people will try to borrow my, want me to come DJ for free. And so I totally this last couple of weeks, I just said, I'm never doing it again. Not even for charity. I don't even want to do it. Don't even want to do it. There's too many guys out there that killed my business. That let those younger guys that stole my business do that. Let them take it. So that's. But how does that apply to everyone else's life? You know what I'm talking about. Some people volunteer, give back, soup kitchens, or cleaning up parks or roadways, or just doing different things. You might donate time to a bingo or something like that. And some people get great gratification out of it. Just that peace of mind, a part of something. Everyone gets to recognize them. There's people that donate their time in a church parking lot in the rain, guiding people into parking spots and in and out of there safely. And they've been doing it for years. There's people that do that. And that was me too. I would do whatever I could. And I thought at the end of the day, my kids would have that karma and energy. But so getting back to Sabrina, she's leaving, and it's going to be very difficult. And I get everyone out there, I guess, because I've posted here on Facebook for the last 11 months or so, high expectations for what I'm supposed to say, think, feel, or do for them, how they feel, what they want, people I've never met. And that's hard because I'm still dealing with life. Everyone's complaining worse than I am about the coronavirus and how it affected their boat trips or the things they have to put on their face. Could be you, whatever. And nobody wants to do that. I mean, I've been out and about. I'm sure I've had it because, I haven't breathed right in over a month. Every day I've been a lot dizzy, But I keep thinking, what if my son was here? How would I be? Would I even be doing this? Well, here's the funny thing. I was uploading videos to YouTube before he died that I spent years in a box down here. One day I just decided to, print out more pictures. This was before he even left. And I found some old tapes. In fact, where are they? Well, they're over here. Anyway, they're all over here, right down here on the floor. But I started ripping them and putting them up on here. And that's when I started showing them. And then him and I, because we had been apart for almost 4 years, for the most part, we were working out together, and he was getting in amazing shape, amazing. And I was so happy, and I was so proud of him. And it wasn't anything I made him do. He wanted to do it. In fact, he wanted to do it more than I wanted him to do it. But I was just happy he was physically active, and he was at my gym, and everyone saw me so happy, and I was like, I was so proud and happy, and my best friend is here with me. Oh my God. So, and I have that face. I have that face. People think I'll do anything and everything for them, which I'm that kind of guy. But some people will take it that for a lot of people take that advantage of that. Then there's that face that people either like me a lot, or there's a good chunk of people that just get so turned off when I walk into the room, even with a smile, good intention. I have that face too. I've got many faces. I guess it just depends on what you feel like or how you perceive me. It's perception, completely perception. Because I have zero animosity towards anybody I know or don't know. Especially if I know you and you've never done anything wrong to me enough to hurt me or anything to hurt my kids. You know, I mean, it's something. If I have something, take it. Take it. You want to borrow my DJ equipment? Even now, just take it. You know I'm going to have to chase it 20 miles later, 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, and they'll come back missing pieces. That's just my life. My brothers aren't like that. My brothers they're smarter than me. They're very successful. They're younger. They make a lot of money. They don't do any favors unless it's, you're paying them up front cash. And they don't care if they hurt your feelings or you never talk to them again, because they have so many friends that they'll replace you with. More attractive, more successful, have more money than most people make in 5-10 years. Me, I've always looked out for the little guy, the underdog. But sometimes, a lot of those dogs will bite you. You know how they say the dogs that bite the hand that fed them? Dogs do bite. You ever had that dog you're feeding it, and you're feeding it, and it still snips at you? It's like, whoa, hey, I didn't know to put the food here for you. That's humans. I think humans are more like that than dogs, because you always say the dogs are more loyal. I believe that. Is that a negative way to feel? Is that a bad way to feel? No, it's just what my life has dictated to me over the last, since I hit 50 on down. And now the only representation of myself is trying to keep my oldest daughter happy. And she's strong and she's smart and she's independent. I'm sure she's in a lot of pain and has a lot of hidden things up there that she doesn't even want to reveal to me. Dante didn't want to reveal anything to me, and I thought I knew everything about him. But ultimately it killed him. The divorce killed him. Me not having a better house killed him. And I know that sounds bad. It sounds almost superficial. But he knew that I was going through a lot. And you find that human compassion becomes very subdued. But there's also a lot of good people out there. People that have given nice cards and donations and things like that have been very helpful, especially for my daughter. And that helped me stay here so my daughter could heal. Not me. I could have left. I could still leave. But, people get tired of hearing that part in my world. And, but it's a question that pops in my head 100 times a day. What do I do? But it's funny because, I sit there and I talk to Dante. And I posted a lot of things, like I see signs, pink color, the X in the sky. We were walking yesterday, and there was a bunch of X's painted on the sidewalk. And of course, they're probably markings for something. I don't know if it's a gas company or something. But I said to Sabrina, as we were walking, we decided to take a walk around the corner by the golf course. We live off of Square Lake in Rochester. We took a quick little walk. And of course, everyone's walking and driving past us, and, like they didn't care. And it was like Murphy's Law, because there's hardly any traffic when you go walking, especially at night. But this particular night yesterday, there was a lot of traffic. And I said to her while we were walking and dodging pedestrians and people on bikes, I said, I don't see any signs really anymore. And it was probably a figment of my imagination, even though a lot of people told me they are signs and it is him and, all this other stuff. And, and part of me believed it, and maybe it still happened. I don't know. But I said I hadn't seen anything in a while. Next thing you know, I'm looking down and I see her walking, and I took a picture of it. She's walking across these X's, and directly across the street, there was over the road, there was a pink X on the tree. I got a picture of that too. And I'm sure, again, it's probably a marketing. They're probably going to cut the damn tree down, the poor tree down. But just the fact we saw the X. And an X and the number 10, which we always use, is a very common, just like pink is a very common color. And I printed out, and I print out probably most days at least a half a dozen pictures. Today I printed out about 8 pictures. I go through so much ink. I've got boxes of ink. I belong to this thing where they send me ink before I even, like, it can detect when it's running low, and the next day there's ink in the thing. I still haven't opened up the ink from before. But anyway, so I have so much ink, and I printed out these pictures, and I put them everywhere. I got, a 20-year supply of Scotch tape. And for years, I only went through maybe one roll of tape every 3 years, and I went through 2 rolls in less than 6 months. And I still got 8 rolls left, but that's what I do with all this stuff. I try to, put pictures everywhere, and I'm glad I took all the pictures I did. People thought it was crazy at first. I had friends tell me, "Guys, why are you putting so many pictures on Facebook?" And this was when he was alive, and then when he died, he said, "You know what?" My one buddy said, "He goes, I'm glad you took all those pictures. It's crazy how many pictures you took, and some are blurry." Some aren't great angles, but I'm glad too. There's days where I just can't breathe. Yet I've done this thing on Facebook, not YouTube here, but Facebook, to a small group of people, less than a couple thousand, and a couple dozen watched me. A couple dozen. And the only reason I kept their attention was because I played music. And then they complained that they didn't know the music, or they didn't like the era, or they didn't like the way it sounded. And I kept saying, "You want your money back?" But that's just human nature. Human nature. It's crazy. I wonder if somebody out there on planet Earth feels the same way. It's like the more you do for people, the more they expect. I think that's why divorce happens. I think that's why there's a lot of people lonely, no matter how pretty they were, because they had such high expectations. Or we treated each other bad, or we took for granted, or we thought we could never be caught cheating or abusing, or that God wouldn't see it, And speaking of God, it's like I was in the shower a few hours ago, and I thought to myself, because I've known a lot of religious people. My piano teacher, Jack Van Impe, who I haven't seen in a couple of years, I think, because he got really sick a couple of years ago. But he's a TV evangelist that knows the Bible backwards, and I was born and raised that Catholic and stuff. So, but I remember, when Dante was in the hospital, everybody prayed for him. People came on and were, "We'll pray for you, pray for you." In fact, anytime anybody gets upset I always use Facebook because that's all I use. Instagram a little bit, but I just post pictures on it. But anyway, Facebook, everyone's, "Oh, pray for me, pray for me, pray for me," and all these, God will take care of you, and He won't give you anything you can't handle. And what's really weird, because there's pictures of Jesus all around here, and God and everything, and my son even liked it. And I told him, "Man, as long as it keeps you safe and protected. After I said that, later that night he died. And well, he didn't die right away. It took him a few days, but he got hit that night. And that was September 1st. What's the date today? 18th. So August has, 31 days? So, 13 days from now? Less than 2 weeks. I told my therapist friend, Dr. Sam, I called him today. I talked to him once every blue moon. He's called me more frequent. I used to go to his house on particular days, and because of FaceTime and phone, we just started doing that the last few months. And I called him today, and I said, "You know what?" I said, "If you got time this weekend, I want to have one more, and that's it." And there's one more. I said, "Yeah, one more, just that's it." Because he can't answer every question. Nobody can. And I said, "No, I just want closure. I just want it to be the end of an era." Like with Facebook, in less than a couple weeks, I'm already starting to dwindle down my post a little bit. I mean, the pictures I put of Dante, I still have a whole bunch. I just haven't put them anymore. And that I'm going to spare people. I'm going to spare them their emotions, their judgments, their opinions, their ideologies, and of course, anything they may just get turned off by the way what I post. And that's why I invited people, not with a link or a message, but with, if you want to come to my site, join it. And I'm a little melancholy today. I feel really, like I said, I've been feeling really, really dizzy. And I don't know what it is. It's probably stress and stuff like that, but it's okay. But I really like, no matter what, being positive and fighting and keeping going for not just Sabrina, Sophia too. Sophia, who I barely get to see, she lives with the mom and the boyfriend over at the house, 10 miles northeast of here. Um, her mom was, and this was the other thing I wanted to say. Well, about God, first off, before I say Sophia and her mom, you know, I've become almost like an atheist, like, because I don't really feel, and I thought about it in the shower. I said, you know what? I really wish there was a God. And it was the God that I was trained to believe in, like everyone else. But I really haven't felt that presence. I really haven't. I felt everybody's opinion, their feeling. Oh no, I know God is real. I know I can feel it in my heart. Well, I don't feel it in my heart. I don't feel it here. I don't feel it here, and I really don't. I just don't. Um, I don't know. Every time I come down, my nose itches because there's a fan, a little tiny fan that's blowing stuff up here. I guess it's off the floor. I don't know. Keeps the air circulating down here. So I apologize. I don't do drugs. Um, but I don't. I don't feel that. And that's kind of hard because you know what? If there's an afterlife or another world or something, or I might see people that have died, my friends that have just died this last couple of weeks, my mother-in-law who died about a week ago. But most, I don't want to say that's the number one reason, but my son, I'd love to see him again, and I don't know, but I'm not going to ever tear anybody down, and I could easily have that particular reason, and people would accept it and expect it if I was angry at everybody for whatever reasons and flew off the handle. And I think that I would rather be respectful. I would rather be um, accepting because it doesn't affect me. And I notice a majority of people out there complain about things that actually don't affect them. Think about why you're angry about a lot of things: politics, religion, people. How much does it really physically, tangibly affect you? But we love to be angry. We love to be mad. We love to share our misery and blanket over everybody. And I think that's the misconception. And that's why another reason I put it over here is because I'm sure there's people that understand and can feel exactly a feeling that I hope nobody has to feel. And I know a handful of people out there have or are, and Facebook and everywhere else in the world where there's a particular amount of pain. I've been saying the same words over and over, a measurable amount of pain that most people will never experience. Um, it's like if you lost a particular pet or a specific family member, but definitely a child. I know a lot of people that, in general terms, I think the biggest one is the loss of a parent, no matter how old they are and how long they've been gone. You could lose your father or your mother, a parent, at 40, 60, 90. And I have an uncle who's still alive, and I don't know how he's alive at 90, almost 96, with full-blown dementia, but they don't want to let him go. And he's still, you know, he has more bad days than good, but that's a case in point. And he's my favorite uncle, and he's my godfather too. Go figure. So we all have all these little things in our life that make life easy, fun, but also hard and painful. And that's why I'm putting it over here. And that's why I called it my invisible son. I don't know what just popped in my head. Dante. And I don't know if I'm, sometimes I break down and cry, sometimes I yell and get mad about it. That's normal, I guess. I have a friend of mine who lost his brother that we all used to work together, my brother, and there was two sets of brothers that were, everyone knew who they were, and that was us. And back in 2001, a couple days ago, was the 19th anniversary of his death on a motorcycle. He was riding a wheelie down a major road on an 8 Mile, I believe, and he hit a SEMTA bus, those big passenger buses in the city, and it broke his neck. And his brother was a big, muscular guy, very macho guy, outgoing. He posted something yesterday. He hates today. He was like he felt like he was his other dad, his big brother, and he's still not over it 19 years later. But yet people expect me. A lot of people expected me to be over it like within a couple of weeks. Um, my 17-year-old, he would have been 17 on September 13th. It's 9:55. I'm gonna get off at 10. I usually go back and do something on Facebook. I didn't do it last night, which I sometimes do mostly on Mondays. And I was going to do something tonight, maybe, but I don't have that enthusiasm anymore. I really don't. Um, but I know it helped a lot of people smile and laugh, and I'll do it again. I'll do it like one or two more times before I stop doing it. And I'm pretty disciplined when it comes to that. I think people have been so persistent in my world over there that, especially female, um, they enjoy it, they like it. It gives them some form of break from all the other negativity that's out there. But I have to figure out my life from this point forward. And the only thing I want to really do is figure out what I can do here to incorporate other individuals, people that have gone through something that they can't get past or is very difficult to get through. And we can talk about it. Not like one of those really, and nothing against the groups, those, I don't know what they're called. People tell me, oh, you should join this group of fathers that lost a son or a kid or something like that. And I said, no, I want it to be fun. I want it to be fun. I mean, if you yell, scream, or cry, or you want to come on, I have the ability to bring people on and talk about it, and they can say whatever they want. I don't know what the restrictions on YouTube are, but I'm not trying to create any radical whatever. The extremities of an emotion or a feeling is completely different. How do you filter that? And I don't want it to be filtered. I just want it to be addressed and engaged, and hopefully something can find an answer or a solution or an inner peace, even if it's temporary, like a pain pill. Pain pills are temporary, but I want it to be more productive and positive. Um, I think that you know I want to make special statements to my son, to my daughters individually, Sabrina and Sophia, in case something happens to me, and eventually it will, where they can come back here and see, hopefully, a little bit of history, a little bit of information or advice, where they can just look at me and see me, talk to them like I'm still there, no matter how far away I may be or if I'm gone. And that's the most I think we can hope for in today's technology, because a lot of people don't leave good memories, or they don't leave recorded messages or a lot of pictures. I noticed that even the younger generation, the millennials on down, they don't know how to leave messages. They don't know how to raise their kids without the ego. If you can take the ego and extract that and give it the right attitude and the right emotion and the right morality, I think that is going to make people feel better. I think the reason we miss a lot of people more also is because we don't have enough video of our kids talking to us. saying, hey, this I just want to leave a video message. Remember when you went to go to school and you made a card for your mom or your dad, and all of a sudden you just left it there, and your mom and dad would see it, and they'd keep it for a while. And most people throw them away or put them in a box or something. Everybody's different, but I think that that's what this is about. Trying to leave something better and find solutions. It doesn't necessarily have to talk about bad things that have happened to people, good things. I did that at Facebook, but I felt like I was getting maybe, and I've been told this too. When I was talking about playing the music, I think some people months ago told me, you were so sad and brokenhearted and so heartfelt and said all these, nice things and really cool things and interesting topics about how you were with your kid and how you felt about life in general. And then you went and all of a sudden you made this big left turn. And all of a sudden you're this, TV talk show host playing music and, with the lights and smoke and everything. And it was to lighten the mood. And the reason I did that was because it wasn't something I wanted to do, even though as a DJ, I knew how to do that. But it was because people were going through a lot of hardship. And when the coronavirus had people locked in their homes, and they weren't sure if they were going to get something that was going to hurt them or somebody they cared about, they couldn't go shopping. I thought something took over here. I don't know what it was, because I didn't have the strength to do it, but something took over and took the skills that I had, and maybe it was a combination of my son or something, but we decided to interact with people for an hour or two or three. And the first half hour to an hour or so, I would talk about anything, how I felt. And most people didn't want to hear it. They hadn't followed me or they didn't like it. But there was a nice core of people that became like this community. And that's what I loved about everything that I did here with The Purpose, is that if a handful of people that I'd never met or haven't seen in a long time, whatever, felt better or different, going through all this whole carnage of things that were on the news, the protests / riots, parades, whatever you want to call them, the coronavirus, good, bad, ugly, and normal life itself. Life is hard no matter, even without those things. And, now people are trying to figure out, are the kids going to school online? What's going to happen with the elections? What's going to happen with unemployment and stimulus? And is the economy going to get back together? So many things. And I don't get into all that. But I wanted to lighten the mood because I'm not an expert. I'm not a politician, and I'm not a doctor. Most of my friends have become doctors. Oh my God! If you go to Facebook, most of my friends, I didn't know they were scientists in epidemiology. What do you call it? Epidemiology. I can't say it. Comes to all that kind of stuff. I got to practice that word, epidemiologist, right? Okay, it's one of those big words. And I usually have a pretty decent vocabulary, but some words trip me up. And anyway, they've become all that. And I think it's kind of amusing, actually. But, I knew, even with my training as a firefighter and books on and things on hazmat and everything else, and you name it, I knew I still couldn't compete with that. So the only thing I could compete with was creating my own little world down here in my basement. And hopefully making people feel more joy than pain. And I'm very sarcastic. Some people take it kind of serious. I hope they don't too much. I'll let you know when I'm serious. But that's it. That's my part 4. And my Sabrina, I love you. You're my butterfly, Sophia. You're my magic. My once before you were like a little snowflake. When you came home, you made all those snowflakes for me. And but they turned that into a political word, so I had to get. Like, oh no, okay, I better change the name. It's like, but the magic was better anyway. And of course, my warrior number 10, Dante, wherever you are, brother. I don't know if there's an afterlife. I don't know if there's a God. I don't know. I don't know. But, you know, I hope somebody out there, one or two people out there outside of my normal Facebook, will tell me something good. Give me hope. Give me something else. And I've had a lot of good people on Facebook, a lot of nice messages. So, it was the rest of the crowd that was there. That's why I didn't want them to even accidentally follow on here. Like at Facebook, they can pop on your video and go, what is he saying? Oh, okay. And, you're thinking, oh, I got 150 views, but then you get like 7 likes. So it's like, doesn't work out that way. And that kind of made me feel bad a little bit. I was like, after a while, you're like, okay, why am I doing this? If only 5 people are watching or 10 people are watching. So if you like this, subscribe to it. I'm going to be more positive. Like I said, I got sick about last Wednesday and today's Tuesday, and I never get sick. So I probably got it. My gym has 5 times the amount of people than normal, and it's like 10 people per machine. It's like a phone booth in there. Like, can I get in there? Can I get on the Smith machine? Can I? And I got slobber on my face, so I kind of feel a little bit under the weather. They're telling me and everybody in the gym, oh, it's just a hoax, it's just fake, oh, it's the flu. Like, I think you gave it to me because I'm feeling weird here and all over the place lately. So that's kind of where it's at. So I'm not gonna say anymore. So we don't think I'm doing something wrong or something. But this is for my son, Dante Anthony Rain Gonzalez. Number 10 was his middle school number, but even when he was a little boy, we always talked about the number 10. 10, being the highest level, take it to times 10. You hear people saying that. And that became our secret, back and forth. And we didn't overkill it. We just did it pretty cool. And it started getting more and more as when he came back here, and now he's gone. And I would say I'm sure a lot of people feel this way, that no matter what you've done or how good you've done in life, or what you might have or look like or feel like, or, there's a lot of people out there that are really super depressed or really frustrated or feel like, what's the meaning of life? How much do I have left? Why did I have those particular friends or date those particular people or take that job, or why did I make those sacrifices when I could have had a better life easily by not doing that? And then all the stuff that happens. I don't know. I thought I did. But I know that I got to figure out a way that I'm going to spend the rest of my life being happy and not just trying to beg to survive in a miserable existence, which is everybody is telling me to do. You should get a job sweeping the streets. I'm like, I might as well jump in front of the truck on that street, and that would be fine. They can clean me up. So, on that note, these will get more positive. I know the first one was really kind of melancholy, a little bit, but I do keep it more upbeat on the Facebook one. I think, like I said, I'm only going to do a couple more of those, and I'll keep this one more positive. This is the introduction. I want people that ever fall upon it to know that the pain and suffering still exists, but I'm pushing through it, and it's hard. But if you've had a way to get through it, and I know a lot of people that don't get through it, over medicated, or caught up in addictions, they do the ultimate deed. I know those feelings, and but I'm hoping that no matter what you're going through, you feel like you can come and we can get through this stuff. We can get through the fire. We can get through the flood. We can get through whatever life throws at us and fight the fight. and live the way we're supposed to live and have a purpose and have, meaning behind our existence until the day we leave. And I hope that this is my purpose for a moment and it helps save somebody or makes them feel better even for a, get them to the next day, to get them to that next round, whatever the case is. So it's not just about me. It's about what my son would have done if he stayed here and what he would have wanted for me and his sisters. And by the way, the rest of the world, that's how he thought. He didn't like bad people, but he loved good people. I think that's all of us, right? Okay, that's enough. I will talk to you later. It's now 10:10. 10:10. So I'll tell you what I tell my Facebook people. I love you. If you don't feel loved, I do love you. Some strange, weird guy is telling you he loves you, and I mean it. It's not some weird emotion. It's just some thing that's out there that says, you know what? I know what you're feeling. And if you actually stumble upon this a week from now, a year from now, whenever, I hope that you know that there's somebody out there that's been beaten to death and broken down and broken to tiny pieces and just decimated, but he's still trying to push, and that's me. Okay? And I'm glad to have made your acquaintance. Have a great night, and I'll talk to you later.